Hi, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you to this episode of All Things Lean. My name is Madhulika Rajahan, mother, author, green energy enthusiast, and a certified Lean Six Sigma black belt expert. In today's episode, we will talk about breadcrumbs and how we can help users retrace their steps on the website using them. Do you remember the fairy tale about Hansel and Gretel? A small boy and girl trying to retrace their steps in the forest? The, they only wanted to find their way back home, and so do our users. They should feel free to explore all the options and information on our website without losing track of where they are and how to return to where they came from. We can help them in the same way Hansel helped his little sister by using breadcrumbs. Here, we will explain how to implement them and what problems to look out for so you will be able to keep users safe from stumbling into the real witch in our story frustration. But before we understand how we do that, let's understand what exactly we mean when we say breadcrumbs. When users are moving through a multi level website, occasions often arise where they would benefit from being able to retrace their steps. Breadcrumbs form a design pattern that satisfies the user's needs by representing each visited level in the site hierarchy with a link, allowing users to jump to a particular page of content or options instantly. Now, look at it from the design problem angle. Think of the last time you found yourself arriving on a web page that was 5, 6, 7, 8, or more clicks away from the landing page. Now remember the last time you came in via an outside link, finding yourself in the midst of the very involved website. That is one, having a small skyscraper's worth of levels. While you are at it, remember why you went there in the first place. Was it because you needed to do something important, such as finding out how to start a high interest saving account or checking about a visa requirement to enter a country you wanted to visit? Or were you just satisfying a curiosity about, say, your favorite television show at an idle moment and wanted to find out which season a certain episode appeared, or see other productions an actress had been in? Multi level websites are hardly rare. The online preciseness of banks, government agencies, and fans, not a blade type, resources for many aspects of popular culture certainly spring to mind. But so do all sorts of websites from companies that offer a diverse range of products and services. So, as to cover every angle of what they do, these organizations have to create pages after pages after pages, branching across categories and nesting these pages within one another. Pretty soon, all the information falls into place in something resembling a family tree. Or if you want to think literally, it keeps up with Hansel and Gretel and their breadcrumbs. Pathways that wend their way through a forest, opening out into many little clearings. If you click 10, 11, or 12 times to get to the page you want from the landing page, you're dealing with 10, 11, or 12 removes from the familiar spot, like the entrance to a forest. If you've been teleported from outside to land on a page that's 10, 11, or 12 clicks down the line, it's a little like a parachuting yourself in the middle of the forest. Okay, so you have been clicking the left pointing arrow on your browser to get you back to an option. But what if your system hangs? What if suddenly you realize you want to look at a related product or topic that you have interested? Now, your related product, topic, or what you have invested in shows up as big picture, something that, at the very least, keeps you from shaking your head and abandoning your journey because you feel lost. Therefore, you need a user interface design pattern that provides direct links to return you to the various levels of the site you previously visited. Some way of taking you back up to the point where you can either stay and investigate another section or easily work your way over to the page you'd really like to visit. So, how do we find a solution to this kind of a design problem? Breadcrumbs satisfy the user's need in this respect. At each visited level in the site hierarchy is represented by a link, allowing the user to jump to a particular page of content or options in an instant. Thanks to a designer's listing the different levels of the site hierarchy users have visited, they can trace their steps and navigate directly to any one of these levels by simply clicking one of the breadcrumb links. The name breadcrumbs is somewhat misleading, as the users might have arrived at a page without having progressed through all of the others after following a link or entering via search engine. It is important to understand that breadcrumbs do not represent actual steps taken, but rather a hierarchy of a website or an application. Additionally, the users do not have to follow the exact order so as to return to their starting point. Instead, they can skip steps in between and navigate directly to a specific page. Now, why do we choose a breadcrumb design pattern in the first place? So, first things first, let's see what a certain usability guru has to say about breadcrumbs. According to Jacob Nielsen, an eminent Danish website usability consultant, breadcrumbs never cause problems in user testing. People might overlook this small design element, but they never misinterpret breadcrumb trails or having trouble operating them. When your website is divided into clear and apparent hierarchy with the individual sections devoted to specific group of contents, breadcrumbs can be great help to the user. This is especially so when there is no other means of navigating to specific points within the site structure, as they allow the users to move back to any of the previously visited pages. They also work well when combined with other navigation patterns such as top level navigation bars. As the user progresses deeper and deeper into the hierarchy of a site, breadcrumbs become more important as they present a simple, highly visible, and instantly accessible way of navigating back through the higher levels. Breadcrumbs also provide users with important contextual information, which is especially useful when they have arrived from some outside source, such as link from another site or through a search engine. The breadcrumbs link tell the users exactly where they are, while the site structures and how they can move to another, giving a more general categories or group of content. So, what are the best practices on how to implement these breadcrumbs? First, assign a label to each of the individual pages within the hierarchy. These labels should preferably match the title of the page so as to provide context and help the users identify exactly where they will be taken within the site structure if they select a particular breadcrumb. Secondly, arrange the breadcrumbs in the order they appear within the site hierarchy, with the first level at the furthest left and the user's current level on the furthest right. As the users move deeper into the site, allow the breadcrumb list to grow one link with each new page. Separate each of these breadcrumbs with a greater than sign or some other symbol that helps space the links apart. Hyperlink all the breadcrumbs label. Apart from the labels representing the current page, so the users can jump directly to each page, also make sure to leave the greater than symbol as inactive dividers. That is, do not hyperlink your greater than symbols or any other symbols used to separate the breadcrumbs. Each of the hyperlinks should maintain the same appearance regardless of whether the user has visited or not. Fifthly, as the user moves back through the breadcrumbs from a deeper level, labels should no longer be present within the list, within the user's current position always represented as the last breadcrumb. As the breadcrumbs are used to track the user's current position on the websites or the application's hierarchy, they should not be present on the home page or on the highest point while the site hierarchy. Finally, provide users with the facility to navigate between different breadcrumbs with the tab key. Now, what are the potential problems we can encounter while dealing with breadcrumbs? Poorly labeled breadcrumbs can be confusing, especially when they do not match the page title. Therefore, breadcrumb labels must clearly describe the contents of a page. However, you must also keep the breadcrumb labels brief. So there is something of a balancing act required between explicitness and brevity. Otherwise, the labels might span across the width of the user interface, occupying an unnecessary amount of space and forcing the users to scan a large region of space that is entirely necessary. While breadcrumbs are useful addition to a design, they should not be the sole means of navigation. Instead, think of breadcrumbs as a supplementary navigation tool, especially for designs with very deep pages of content. In those, providing a means of quickly returning to higher levels within the structure would serve as an essential guide. For this reason, breadcrumbs are often used in combination with global navigation. Using these navigation patterns allows user to trace their current path with the breadcrumbs while also being able to jump directly to other sections of the site, regardless of the depth of the contents within the hierarchy by using global navigation. Therefore, so as to afford true freedom of movement through the site and encourage exploration of the site contents, it is often best to use multiple user interface design patterns that perform similar design functions together. Let's think about the takeaways from what we've learned today. Breadcrumbs can help users to navigate through a hierarchy quickly and effortlessly. Many websites are laced with information about products, services, topics, etc., that by their very nature have to be nested within categories and subcategories. Consequently, breadcrumbs serve as an at a glance guide or legend, showing how many removes or clicks away a page is from a landing page, for instance. Implementing breadcrumbs is relatively simple as long as you make sure that labels are clear and unambiguous, visible and located just before the top level navigation opportunities. Using breadcrumb affords true freedom of movement and encourages exploration of contents. Combined with other user interfaces, design patterns, they might help you create greater user experience. With this, we come to an end to this episode of All Things Lean. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment in the comment section on what you'd like to hear more. Until next time, this is your host, Madhulika Rajahan, signing off. Have a wonderful day ahead.